Now live, running a Acela consist, a freight consist, and this 1940s era locomotive right here. Anyway, I'm going to quickly set into the live chat here so I can read everybody's messages. That's nicely timed. Bassin Trains, welcome. Happy Easter. Yeah, happy Easter to Dakota. How's the layout progress? I haven't done anything too crazy on it since the last video, but I mean, it's working pretty well in my opinion. Hi, Chris. Have you been? Pretty well. Can you get the Santa Fe 3000? I'm not sure if I have that one. Happy Easter from Colorado. Do you have any car trains? I definitely have a couple auto loaders, but I'm not sure where they are right now. I see you're running the AWVR. Yep. I think the Acela derailed. Afternoon stream, this is a first. Yeah, not very common, eh? Put an older locomotive. Well, I think this thing dates back to the 40s or 50s, and it's dishing it out. Can you run some LNN? Let me see if I have any. Let's have a look here. I definitely have some LNN locomotives. I just don't know how many of them I brought over to this house. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have any here. Can you run the big boy? I probably will at some point in this stream, but that's a very common request, so I'll wait a little while. Are you still thinking about setting up the N scale in another room? It's either going to go under this layout right here, or yeah, it might end up being added for another area of the house. I'm not sure yet. Do you have any Hershey's locomotives? I definitely have some of those. I feel like I have at least one of them here. Let me have a look. There we go. Maybe we'll swap this out for the AWVR. Are you going to do any more repair videos soon? There's one already in production. It should be out within the next week. Is your grandmother still around? If so, I hope she's doing okay. Yeah, she's still around, and yeah, she's doing pretty well. Is it worth turning a Tyco locomotive to DCC? I don't think so. If you really want to like run a Tyco locomotive at a train club, maybe. But if it's just for your layout, the cost of the decoder is worth more than the locomotive. Like at that point, you may as well put a new drivetrain in the shell. And Chris is glad the move went well. It looks like you got everything back up and running. Yeah, so far things have been working really well with the layout. I'm loving the new space. Still, obviously, a long way to go in terms of adding detail and all the rest of it. But so far, this is not bad. I really can't wait to add the rest of the track too. Can you run an NNWJ class? I don't think I have one. Do you ever play any sports? When I was a kid, I was into soccer, but that's about it. I like getting outdoors. Like I love paddleboarding and biking and things like that, but I've never really been much of a sports guy. Is that the Bachmann Acela? Yep. That's the same one that flew off the layout years ago, in case anybody's wondering. Run a CSX locomotive if you ever get the chance. Yeah, we can do that. Ever think of playing golf? I actually played golf a while back. In Gatineau, we have a huge Golf Town store. I don't know if those are international or not, but yeah, at Golf Town, they have like one of those golfing simulators where you actually hit a ball at the screen and it then goes into the simulator. I always loved that as a kid. And I had a golf set. I only ended up going a couple times, though. I just never really got into it. Thank you very much for the super chat, Ed Bately. And bonjour, SMT. First time seeing you doing an afternoon stream. We'll pay you handsomely next time you do a trolley repair video. Can we get a railfan view? Yeah, absolutely. And I'll throw a trolley on too there. Let me just find something to haul these Amtrak cars around first. Do you still have your grandmother's childhood trains? I sure do. Run something Conrail for their 50th anniversary. Yeah, we can do that. There we go. How many locomotives do you think you have? Somewhere between 500 and 600. The rebuild's looking good. Thank you. What's the oldest locomotive that you've bought? I don't know. I have a Varney Yellowstone, and that could date back to the 1930s. In terms of HO, that's almost as far back as it goes, because there's some O-scale stuff which dates back to the early 1900s, but yeah, in terms of HO, I think the 30s is kind of where it started. It's where they were getting motors small enough to actually build model trains of that size and so on. Any new updates on the house? Nothing significant. It's kind of just been business as usual, but the house is working well, I've got to say, now that it's actually got proper heat and sealed up a lot of the doors and stuff to prevent it from losing a lot of heat. That was a good choice. Yeah, it's not bad. There's still a lot of work to do around here. I'm still kind of chipping away at things, but it's more cosmetic issues now rather than actual problems. like not being able to keep the place warm. Do you have any stuff from Denmark? I'm not sure. I definitely have some stuff from Europe, but I'm not sure if I have anything specifically from Denmark. Can you make videos about fixing the house too? I don't think I will. I mean, I don't know. It would be cool to show the before and after process of the house, but I don't know. I don't know how many people want to see home repair videos on a model railroad channel. I see that you're mostly into HO. Are you possibly going to get an N-scale or HO layout in the near future? I think so. I already own some N-scale stuff and some O-scale stuff, so I'm thinking of actually building a multi-scale layout in one of the other rooms down here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but it is in the cards. Have you ever heard of the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad? I've definitely heard of that railroad. It's been featured in quite a few books. I don't know a crazy amount about it, but I believe that one of their locomotives is a former Chinese engine, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I'm just going to quickly get the Conrail locomotive on as requested, and then we'll do a bit of a street view scene. Bachman coupler is not working well. Add a mini Canadian flag on the layout. I had one on the previous layout. I think it's in storage. Okay, good. Finally got it. And now the engine's not running. Ooh. Yeah, it's gonna need to warm up a little bit. Can you run anything German? I recently got a job with the German Federal Railway. Yeah, sure. Also, congratulations on the new job. I think this is kind of a good view. I'll slow them down as they go by. How did you start the hobby? I've always been into trains, but what really got me into model railroading was my dad. When I was younger, he brought me over to my grandparents' house, and he had a HO scale set when he was a kid, and so we dug it out and went through it, and he showed me everything. And then for that Christmas, I ended up asking for a train set, so that's where it all began. Hello from Ohio. My son Logan watches you all the time. He wants to know if you can run a Norfolk Southern engine. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Do you still have your very first train set? I don't have the box or all the cars, but I still have the original locomotive from it. I think this Christmas I'm actually going to release the footage of that, because I have, my dad filmed all that, like opening up my first train set and everything. Christmas 2006. Just having a look for the German locomotive and a Norfolk Southern engine. I know I have a Norfolk Southern SD40-2. Just not sure where in storage that is. I know I have it at this house. Could be on this shelf over here somewhere. I would have been 4 years old in 2006. I'm 23. Okay, yeah, same age as my sister then. Yeah, I don't think it's on this shelf. Must be somewhere over here. The Norfolk Southern is next to the TGV. I don't see it. Do you still have a big boy Rivarossi locomotive? Yeah. Oh, this TGV, yeah, nice. It's got a coupler too, I'm sure that will work. And Nathan says, Harrison, if you ever go to England, what would you do if you visited? I would probably go to Worthing, England, because that's where my grandmother was from, and kind of visit the old stomping grounds around there. Other than that, I'm not entirely sure. I am curious about what London is like, and I'm sure there's some great train stores out there too, so I'd probably want to visit one of those, if not a train museum, but that's about it. I didn't know you had multiple TGV sets. I've got about 4 or 5 of them, yeah. A few 80s ones and some modern ones from Mahano. Passenger train is cruising. Yeah, it's not bad. You have an Amtrak P42 DC? Yep, definitely got one of those. I'll have to have a look for it. I think it's right there, actually. You run a... Yeah, I'll run the daylight in a moment. The HO scale display cabinet looks great. I'm glad to hear that. I couldn't find the German locomotive I had in mind, but I'm pretty sure this thing is from Germany, so we'll try to run it on the inside circuit. Silver Streak is turning 50 years old this year. I wasn't aware of that. That's cool. Pretty sure this engine has not run for a while, so it's a little groggy. Oh, maybe. Can you run the black daylight? I don't know if I have that. I think the German engine might need a little bit of oil. Do you have any Japanese locomotives? Yeah, I sure do. HO Warbaby GS4. Yeah, I don't think I have the Warbaby GS4. I might have the Black Widow GS4, but I haven't unboxed it yet. I'm on vacation in Florida. How's it going? Not bad. I am a little bit jealous of the warmer temperatures in Florida, though. Although this week, things have definitely warmed up. The snow is actually starting to melt out here, which is nice. Do you have any 424s? I don't think so. You see the Conrail SD70? Let me have a look for it. I'll just take the Amtrak off here and we'll try to run the daylight. I was in Omaha, Nebraska, and I saw the big boy 4023. Nice. I haven't seen 4014, but I have seen the one they have at Steamtown. I want to say it's 4012, but I'm not sure if I'm right about that. I've seen 40. Oh, it is 4012. Okay. Not sure why the daylight shut off. Daylight's running kind of rough. Yeah, let's give it more voltage. That will fix it. Do you want more of those Amtrak passenger cars? Honestly, I'm really happy with the amount I have. It's the perfect size of train. I think the daylight derailed. Yeah, well, so much for building this layout to the standards of that thing. I think we'll throw the big boy on to replace it. Set it up over here, though. You still have RJ Corman number 2008? Yeah, I sure do. Big boy does not want to start. What the heck? I'll just go double check the controllers here. This thing was working fine last time I had it out. I'm not sure why it's doing this. Well, I guess the big boy is not going to work. It wants more coal. Clearly so. Future repair video on the big boy. Yeah. Wouldn't be the first one on that locomotive. This one doesn't seem to want to go either. Well, so people are requesting the Yellowstone. I guess we'll try to get that to run. Got power in the tracks. It has to have power because the last engine was making sound. I think my DCC controller is having some issues. Hopefully this one will go a little bit better. Maybe it is a track problem. DC forever. Gotta love the reliability of DC. No decoders, no fancy controllers, just power in the rails. Wonder if it's bad rail joiners. It could be. Let's see if it rolls through here. I guess not. When are you putting holes in the walls for the extension? I shouldn't have to drill any holes in the walls because there's already some there from plumbing that was added onto the house back in the 50s. And so it's really just a matter of linking up to that. When is the next layout video? I'm not sure. I've got a repair video in the works, but that's about it for the moment. I do plan on doing a video, though, of actually adding on a piece of track, which is going to span across that area, then add something on right here. I'm not sure how I'm going to accomplish that, but yeah, we'll see. Have you seen the Grand Canyon in Arizona? What was your favorite part, the train or the canyon? Okay, I haven't seen the Grand Canyon Railroad. I have technically seen the Grand Canyon in person, but not on the ground. Me and my family were going to Hawaii, and at one point we were flying over this canyon. And in my mind, I was thinking, wow, I wonder if that's the Grand Canyon. And then right as I was thinking that, the pilot comes on and was like, hi, folks, we're now flying over the Grand Canyon. So I have seen it in person, but I was up a few thousand feet. Do you travel a lot? A fair bit. I haven't as much ever since I bought the house, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm probably down in the States at least 7 times a year, and I've been to Europe once and stuff, and lots of trips around Canada. When are you going to do a video on the Oldsmobile? I'm not sure. I was actually working on it yesterday. The alternator isn't working properly. The voltage is going up and down. So anyway, I bought a new voltage regulator, and yeah, I'm hoping to replace that. But taking apart the alternator was quite a task. One of the bolts was actually seized in place. So anyway, I finally got it out of there, but it took a lot of hammering and a blowtorch. Hey SMT, how's it going? I hope everything is well. Yeah, not bad. Can you run a Delaware and Hudson locomotive? Yeah. Have you ever been through North Carolina or Tennessee? Check out the Lionel stores. That's good to know. I have been in North Carolina when I was coming back from Florida, but yeah, I was only there briefly. Uh-oh. Hello from Montreal. Welcome. Found the D&H locomotive. What are your plans for the back of the mountain later? Are you going to run a tunnel? Yeah, I'm thinking about extending this mountain out and then just adding a tunnel portal there. I'm not sure about this side. I might just leave it as is, but over here I'm kind of thinking, since I've already like cut off the top of the mountain here, we could probably build some sort of a mountainscape which would kind of land around here, and then we have a tunnel portal there. I'll probably seal this off, but there's a lot of room inside here where I could potentially put some track and stuff, so yeah, I'm not dead set on anything at the moment, but the potential is there. I'm also planning on linking this up in the not so distant future. I'm with my friends Elton McFall, aka Retro Old School. He's from Montreal. Oh, salut. The trolley lines still work. Yeah, it sure does. Harrison, do you have a lot more personal space with your house than your parents' house with the amount of space than your actual house? Well, this house that I have is about a third of the space of my parents' place, but yeah, the difference is that I own the entire house, so I can add as much train stuff as I want. There's nothing else being stored here, so yeah, in terms of what I can actually accomplish with the layout, the scope is a bit broader, but in terms of the actual house, it's a lot smaller. You still have the 1072. I can't remember which one that is. I hope to see the big boy someday. Yeah, you and me both. Do you have any trains from the 1880s or the 1900s? I definitely do. I'm not sure if I've brought any over here yet. Yeah, I don't think I have any. Well, I have some of the cars right there. But I'm not sure if I have the locomotive. Although, I actually do have the LNN engine, which somebody was asking about earlier, so I guess I can run that now. Yeah, I don't think I have the engine for that consist. I wonder if this thing will run on the inside circuit. This is from the very early days of the channel. I'm not sure how many people would remember it. Well, I guess that's not going to run. Well, I don't know, maybe I could jimmy that wire in there. Yeah, some people might remember this from the really early days of the channel, like 2018. And basically the story behind it is that I got it in an eBay lot, and I tried taking it to a repair place. They couldn't fix it, and so I decided to try to repair it myself, and I was successful, although it's pretty rotted out, if I'm honest. Just think I could probably use a little bit of a better rebuild now that I know a little bit more about fixing trains, but we'll see if it will run for us here. For a second there, I could feel the motor turning over. Just thinking about it. It's really rough. Come on, yeah. No, it definitely has it in it. If we can just get it moving, I bet it will break through. Up the voltage a little bit here. Yeah, it is an old AHM. Keeps sounding like it's just gonna go, and then it just falls on its face. I don't know. See if I can get this wire in shape a little bit better. If the LNN does run, can you run something CSX? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that one's going to be a future repair video. It's definitely got what it takes, but it doesn't have any traction tires, and I think the wheels have oxidized just because it's been sitting a while, so it needs some love, but it's definitely not hopeless, that's for sure. What's the current status of the Swedish steam engines in Gatineau? Nothing has changed. They're still in that shed. There's not any plan for them. I think eventually the city is probably going to put them up for auction again, but yeah, I'm really not sure. I'd really like to be part of trying to, you know, get those engines back into working order. They probably still run, but yeah, it's just a question of finding the talent and a good location to run them. Can you run the snowblower at some point? Yeah, I think I could do that. Let me see if I can find a good CSX locomotive. Actually, this one is probably a better choice. If the HCW line can't be restored, I remember you saying the next best place would be Expo Rail. I think so. I mean, it would be great if the Bytown Railway Society wanted those engines, but from what I understand, they're pretty much out of space, so I'd be surprised if they ended up taking ownership. So yeah, Expo Rail would probably be good, because at least there would be talent to work on the engines and actually run them once in a while. Also, Expo Rail doesn't have to follow the same regulations as Bytown Railway Society, because in a lot of North America, you have to have boiler certification on steam locomotives every 20 years. In Quebec, you don't need that. You just need to have insurance on the engine. Happy almost Easter. Yeah, same to you. Have you ever heard of American Flyer lines? Yeah, I've got some American Flyer stuff. Bit of HO, a bit of S-scale. Are your lines DC and DCC? Yeah, the layout is a hybrid. I can switch between them. Run a trolley. All right. I have a question. Was Crazy 8s a YN1 or a YN2? I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm sure somebody else in the chat would know what that is. What's wrong with the mountain? It just got shredded a little bit in the move. But it's going to be pretty easy to rebuild all this stuff. The mountain fell down. It didn't fall. There used to be two support beams here. If you saw what the previous layout looked like, there used to be a tunnel there, and there was a tunnel here. So anyway, it's just being kind of rebuilt to match the new design. And Drill Diego says Crazy 8s was a YN2. How old was your cat? Nerf Cat was 17 or 18. We don't know the exact age of him because he was already an adult cat when we got him. But he was definitely young. I always love the mountain scenery. It's one of my favorite parts of the layout. I'm painting an Arkansas and Oklahoma railroad paint scheme on a GP38. It's the best paint scheme. You should look it up. Are you gonna make any more tunnels? I'm probably gonna add some tunnel portals right here. I actually bought some for this layout expansion. I just need to figure out, you know, what kind of equipment I'm gonna be running through here. Putting a Jasper Banff scene would be all right. Yeah, that would fit in very well. I actually just did an unboxing of a Selkirk locomotive, which I know operated at one point in that region. So that video should be out pretty soon. I love what model railroading does. Scenery, woodworking, electronics, so on. Yeah, and also like the mechanical and design aspect. Like model railroading does teach a lot. It's too bad schools didn't, I don't know, teach people model railroading like just as an elective, because honestly, I probably would have done a lot better in math and a lot of the other stuff I was really bad at when I was in school if model railroading was a part of it. Like, I don't know, geography, maybe you have to recreate a certain scene, or history. There's a ton of different stuff that goes into this hobby. Do you have any British Columbia engines? I definitely have some. I'm not sure if I've brought them over, but let's have a look. I loved when Nerf Cat would get on the layout and walk around. He said, "Watch out, Nerf Cat, the train's coming." Yeah, he would do that a lot. I mean, there were a couple of videos I had of him doing that, but even when I was just working on trains in the basement, he would come downstairs and jump up on the layout. So yeah, I do have a BC Rail locomotive. Do you have any German engines? I was running one earlier. I'm pretty sure I have another one somewhere here. I'm just trying to find the darn thing. Because I had a complete German train with an engine and 4 cars. I was pretty sure I brought it over here, but I can't seem to spot it. So I don't know. What happened to the PCC trolley? I'm not sure. Would you ever consider getting a real-life basis for the Thomas characters, like a Hornby E2 or something? Yeah, any one of the Thomas characters without a face on it, I would consider running on the layout. I don't know, it's just the trains with faces. I have nothing against Thomas. I really liked the show as a kid. I just don't feel the need to add it to my layout. If you don't want to add Thomas stuff to your layout, that might be a good compromise. Yeah. Nerf Cat is forever loved. Yeah, he certainly is. I like realistic layouts. I'm not a kid. That's nice. Can you fix your German 060? I'm amazed anybody remembers that engine. Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't think I have it at this place yet, but I could definitely do like a live repair of that. I'm always kind of surprised when I'm doing like a live stream or something and someone mentions an engine that's kind of obscure. I won't run Thomas myself, but maybe for a nephew. For a few good flat cars, Thomas and Gordon. Well, the train club I was part of, they didn't have any locomotives themselves except Thomas. And the reason they had that was because whenever they brought the layout to train shows, they would bring Thomas out just because, you know, there'd be lots of kids there and stuff. And they always got a real kick out of that. But it was just funny, like the only actual engine the entire train club owned was Thomas. The eyes moved. Yeah, I think it was a Bachmann one. How long have you been in model railroading for? Almost 20 years. I started in December of 2006. I tried to give my local train club a Bachmann and they refused it. Can you run a Spirit of 76? Yeah, sure. I'm not sure which one. Try this guy. Yeah. I love the ones where you fix trains and then run them around. Yeah, I like doing those live streams. Videos too. What does your girlfriend think that you finally added the industrial mountain back? She was quite surprised, honestly. It was hilarious, because, you know, she is here every weekend, and, you know, she had seen the layout and stuff, and then I did a ton of work, and this was before the video was out, and she walked into the basement, and she was like, holy crap! Seeing, like, how much stuff I had added, because the layout, you know, is more than double the size now. So, yeah, I wish I had her reaction to this on video, honestly. It was pretty funny. It was funny because her brother was actually here this morning, and he hadn't seen the layout in person before, and when he walked down here, he was like, this place looks a lot bigger in person. It would be cool if you had some Austrian engines like the OBB 1014. They're really cool. Is the OBB 1014 our converted Bombardier Talent? Wow, the Spirit of 76 is really sending it. How many DCC trains can you run at one time? Probably about 5. I think that my DCC controller's 1.25 amps. But modern engines are quite efficient. Most of them only draw about 0.2 of an amp, so it could handle that pretty easily. Can you run the snowblower? Yeah, that's right. I was supposed to run that. Let me have a look for it. I wonder if this thing would work on the trolley line. I love the new lines. It's Ottawa. He probably, yeah. I've got a real snowblower. It's not quite as big as one of these things, but you know, like a 200cc snowblower. Yeah, having a real snowblower really paid off this winter because it was a lot cheaper just snow blowing my own driveway than having to hire somebody to bring a plow through. Okay, so apparently these will not handle the inside circuit. I'll just run it on the inside, well, this inside circuit, I should say. Oh, that's not good. I think the last car on the Amtrak train is derailed. Ah, it re-railed itself. Nice. Is that the Spirit of 76 you got from the eBay lot? Not the most recent one, but yeah, this was in an eBay lot video a long time ago. I think in 2021 or something. Could you run one of your British steam locomotives? Sure. Imagine how terrifying it would be to be like standing on the street and you see this thing coming down. Some gnarly looking blades on the front there. the Shikansen still run? Yeah, it sure does. Glad to hear it. A lot of your music in your videos sounds like 80s sitcom music. Are you a fan? Yeah, I really like 80s music, and a lot of the videos I have genuine songs from the 80s in them. I have a license with Universal, so I go digging up old songs from news broadcasts and shows and things like that, and then I add them to the videos. It sounds like CBC Hockey Night music. There were a lot of news networks that used this, so it's very possible that some of this was featured in CBC broadcasting. Jersey Bill says, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Are you able to run the big boy? Well, I tried and it wouldn't pick up power. No idea why, but there must be a wire or something that broke. Do you like the Tragically Hip? And can you run the Golden Eagle? And yeah, so to answer your first question, I do like the Tragically Hip, especially that song in the 100th Meridian. As for the Tyco Golden Eagle, I'll see if it will run. Can you run? I don't have a Thomas model. Do you still have the Hershey train you got from David Z to G and DB Tech? I sure do. I was actually running that earlier in the live stream. See if this thing will start. My DCC controller was also having issues earlier, so I don't know. Nothing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do a factory reset on the controller. It's just not having it. Unless I actually program this to 1102. Nope. Let's try 3 again. Nothing. What was the worst incident you ever had? Probably the time I accidentally sent my Acela flying off one of the corners of the layout. That was pretty bad. I found the other one. We'll see if this will start. I feel slightly more confident in this one. What does everybody think? Is this Tyco going to be the one that pulls through? Yeah, it will. Greetings from Norway. I'd like to know what kind of grass you use on your layout. It's mixed turf from Woodland Scenics. I'll see if I can find a container of it so I can actually show you. Are you going to upload any train show tours? Probably so. I have about 3 of them, I think, which have not been released yet. Have you ever been to Rapido Trains headquarters or warehouse? I never have. I did meet Jason Schron briefly in person. He was doing an event at the Museum of Science and Technology, but that's about it. It was kind of funny though. About 6 months ago, I was doing a repair of a Rapido engine for a friend, and the motor was not acting right. There was something wrong with the commutator. So I reached out to them and just asked if I could buy a new motor off of them. And at first I just got like the kind of regular response like, oh yeah, we'll get in contact with our parts department. And then not Jason, but second in command of the company responded to the email saying, Harrison runs a channel from Eastern Ontario with 150,000 subscribers. Please send him a motor. Do you have any SD45s? I think so. Can you run any British steam engine? Yeah, let me see. I'm not sure what would couple up well to these cars, but it's got to be something. I'll try to run that. Let me see, I've got some, well, okay. Yeah, there's also the City of Coventry. Or Dominion of Canada. Put in the comments which one you want to see. I'll be right back. Just got to excuse myself for about a minute. Leaving a Tyco unattended for about a minute is kind of brave, but I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Dominion of Canada. Okay. Have you ever been scammed on eBay before? Yeah, it has happened. There was one time I bought a locomotive and the seller said that it ran good, and then I got it and it had several problems. And there was another time where I bought some stuff off eBay, like I bought a locomotive and 3 matching cars to go with it, all from the same seller. And anyway, they shipped the items supposedly, but there was no tracking. And then when I ended up, well, I never got anything, but anyway, after a certain while, I was like, okay, I think something's off right here, because it said the item was delivered, but it was undeliverable. So anyway, I messaged the seller, and they were like, yeah, the items returned, and I sold them. But I'd still paid for them, so they had resold items they had already sold me. Then I got in contact with eBay, and they sided with the seller for whatever reason. And anyways, I ended up going through PayPal, and I ended up getting my money back, but yeah. I don't feel confident to buy the Bachmann Chinese JS8419. I would not buy any of the Bachmann Chinese locomotives. A lot of them, especially from the early 2000s, were known for having zinc pest issues, which will rot the chassis. So if you want to buy a Chinese steam locomotive, go with a modern one, because the older Bachmann ones are nothing but trouble. Do you speak French? Juste un petit peu. Moi aussi. Do you speak Spanish? Not really. The only thing I know in Spanish is Buenas noches. Tender's a bit disconnected there. Do you have the Bombardier Talent you had at the old place available? I don't have it here yet. I'll have to bring it over. I'd like to modify the Bombardier Talent to actually run on the trolley line. I think that would be nice. Wasn't the Dominion of Canada the one that had the broken axles? Can somebody clarify it? I fixed the Dominion of Canada for my friend, and that one did have broken axles, and I got it running just fine, and from what he's told me, it's still operating. This one is not the same engine, though. This is a Hornby model, which was actually sent in by a subscriber from British Columbia. Kind of funny, British Columbia for a British engine, but yeah. Anyway, this one runs pretty well. Hey Harrison, I'm going to a train swap meet in exactly 1 week. Do you know of a good switcher for N scale? I'm looking at a GP38 so far, but I'll take any ideas you throw my way. Truth be told, I'm not incredibly knowledgeable on N scale stuff, so I bet there's some people in the comments that might give you some better advice, but I think any Kato or Atlas product would probably be good. I can't speak for the other manufacturers. I have worked with some modern Bachmann N-scale switchers and they seem okay, but I really don't know in the long run how reliable those are. Do you have any SD45s? I'm not sure. I probably do. An N-scale switcher has about a gram fairish 08. Well, I guess if you want something British, sure. Do you still have the O-scale 080 you ran on the HO layout? Yeah. You have a Hudson class. Can't remember if I brought that one over yet. I definitely have a Hudson. That was definitely your peak moment. I was so surprised when that actually worked. I'm not seeing it, but I was pretty sure I brought the Hudson over. Let me check, because I recently brought a big bin of stuff over here. Just gonna double check that it's not up on the landing. I used your super glue trick to keep the Athearn axles from touching each other and shorting out. Thank you for that. Well, I'm glad it worked. I mean, super glue is an incredibly cost-effective way of keeping engines running. Like, there are so many repairs I've had to do with super glue, and, you know, it doesn't cost that much for a bottle of it, so yeah, definitely something any modeler should have. I knew I'd brought this thing over. Next video will be expanding the layout. The next video is going to be a unboxing / repair, and then I think the video after that is going to be another layout expansion where I build some kind of a bridge to connect to that wall over there and so on. Do you have anything scenic-wise for the yard in between it? Well, I haven't figured out where I'm going to place all these buildings, but I definitely want some kind of an industrial scene. I also want this road to continue over to that side of the layout. But how it's all going to go together, I'm not entirely sure. Like, it's possible the road will cross over to this layout and then kind of wiggle its way up there or something like that. I'm not sure. Have you heard of the Holiday Express train? Is that the same as the Canadian Pacific Holiday train? Because if that's the case, I know what you're talking about. If you're just talking about a Holiday Express train, I'm not sure what that is. I hope you have a fantastic Easter. Well, I think it's going to be fun. Apparently, my mom is doing some kind of a brunch with some family friends, so I'm looking forward to that. Probably be some bacon and eggs and cupcakes. Cadbury mini eggs. Does anybody have those around Easter? Bacon. What's your favorite food? I'd say a good pizza. The greasy pizza with all the toppings. Did you just put the AC/DC poster up? No, that's been up for quite a few months. This came with the house. I found it in the ceiling. I keep finding random stuff in the ceiling, like these tiles. I don't know if stuff was falling down from the floor upstairs or if people were trying to hide things in the ceiling, but yeah, I found a lot of stuff there. Pineapple on pizza? Oh, all the way. I will argue with anybody who doesn't like pineapple on pizza. I think a lot of people who don't like pineapple pizza haven't tried it before. Like, give it a chance. Because I thought it sounded disgusting until I tried it, and then I was like, you know what, this is actually kind of good, especially with the bacon bits and stuff. I love it. Do you have any Marklin AC or DC stock? I definitely have some Marklin stuff. Let me have a look. I'm not sure how much of it is here. But yeah, I definitely have some Marklin stuff. Oh, this is not Marklin, it's Fleshman, but from what I understand, Fleshman was like a DC version of Marklin, like they used a lot of the same parts, so here's one example. Oh, I found the German engine I was looking for. Does your girlfriend like trains? She's not into model trains, but she's very supportive. Like, she's been with me to a lot of train shows and stuff, and, you know, I'm sure a lot of you have seen her on some of these live streams and stuff, so, you know, she's very supportive of the hobby, but naturally, is not interested in it. Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train. I miss Ozzy. I'm not sure if this thing can run on the inside circuit. No. What do you think about the absence of cheap, big electric locomotives, like the Little Joe or box cabs in the HO market? Well, it's too bad, but I mean, I just think that not enough manufacturers are willing to make them, so, like, they're in limited production. Like, there's a lot of Little Joes that are made out of brass, and they go for, like, $300 on eBay, so I'm sure some manufacturers willing to mass produce them, the price would come down a little bit, but yeah, they're sought after and not widely produced. Fleshman is not Marklin. Marklin bought Trix some years ago. Fleshman was bought by Roco, and Roco's new N-scale branch. Well, I could be mistaken, but like I have some Fleshman locomotives which are identical in terms of the shell, and a lot of the drivetrain components are the same as a Marklin. The only difference is that the Marklin ones are AC and the Fleshman ones are DC. So I feel like there has to have been some crossover there at some point. How about a 44 ton on the inside loop? That's a good idea, Bill. Let me see if I can find one. I thought I had a Canadian National 44 ton. I don't think this thing is running right. Yeah. This is a dual motor locomotive, so one of the cabs is working, the second one is not. See if this guy will work. You have a T1? I certainly do. Yeah, this one's running well. Do you have any advice on renting a table at a train show and selling trains? I don't know if I'd be the guy to ask for advice for that. I've only done it a couple times, and a lot of the times I was just giving stuff away, so I mean, it wasn't really much profit, but what I have heard from people is it's good to have two people there at all times just to make sure nobody takes any of your stuff. And the other thing I've heard too is to bring a blanket, because if you have anything that's expensive that you're trying to sell and you need to leave your station, you can wrap it up in the blanket and it will just look like a blanket on the floor. I've heard a lot of people at train shows do that, but that's about it. Maybe there's some other people in the chat who know stuff about selling trains at shows. But yeah, there was one show where I wanted to sell some stuff, and you were supposed to pay, and the guy was just like, oh, we don't even have enough vendors, just set up. And some of the other shows I've sold stuff or given stuff away at, I've just been running a table with a bunch of other guys, so pretty easy entry. I accidentally dropped my Union Pacific O-scale big boy. It cost me $1,200. Well, that sucks. Do you still have your tea kettle that does wheelies? Yeah, absolutely. We should try to run that. You need to set up a drag strip for the tea kettle. That's a good idea. How's the Hershey factories? I haven't moved the Hershey factory ever since I moved here. Tea kettle versus the super chief. That is the goal. I'm trying to find the tea kettle that does wheelies. I have one on that shelf, but I don't think it's the right one. Could you run a small loop inside the Hershey factory? It's probably big enough, but I think in all likelihood I'd run something around the building instead. Whoops. Luckily, the tea kettle is made of tougher things, so it still works fine. That's what you gotta love about these, like, older toy grade locomotives is that these were built, you know, to take some abuse. And so if they fall off the layout and stuff, like if that was a nice engine, that would have smashed. It would have been like my Acela. It would have been wrecked. And this thing just lands. Nothing even like breaks off it. Still runs. The drag kettle. Can you run the Rio Grande Kraus Mafia? Yeah, sure. Not sure how well this thing is going to run. I haven't started it in a long time, and if I remember correctly, that has some issues. Also, the weights are popping out of it there. Video idea, locomotive drag racing. We'll see. I'll have to find an opponent for the tea kettle. Wow. That didn't hesitate. Maybe I spoke too soon. Have you ever mistakenly swore on the live stream? If so, what engine made you do it? I have sworn on the live streams before. I think when the Acela crashed, I swore, although somebody recorded the live stream and they uploaded it and they bleeped out the actual swear words I've said, but they also bleeped out a bunch of non-swear words to make it sound like I was just swearing continuously. So like they kind of did me dirty on that. But yeah, I have sworn on a couple of the live streams. I'm personally not against swearing. When I'm wrenching on stuff, I swear all the time. I just try not to in the live streams just because I see it as impolite. Fiddlesticks. Yeah, exactly. Oh, these silly billies. There was one live stream too where I was running the Bombardier bi-levels, and for some reason they kept disconnecting, and I think I said some French swear words. You have good parents, Harrison. They raised you right. Yeah. One thing I was very, very lucky for was having good parents. I think we need to give this thing some more voltage. Cinders and ashes. I really don't understand what's going on with this engine. It has perfect pickup and then it enters a corner and all of a sudden it starts to have issues. So there must be a wire or something that's a little bit loose and it disconnects in corners, because it just doesn't make sense that it runs perfectly and then all of a sudden has a problem. What was the video where you swore? I'm sure you can look it up. If you look up like SMT crash and fail compilation, it's in there. But again, they censored out way more words than I actually said, so it looks worse than it is. I've seen that. I like your favorite word when you get a train going. It's serenity. Yeah. Any of you ever watched Seinfeld? And George's dad is like, serenity now! It's actually not where I got the word. I don't know if anybody would remember this, but years ago there was this Japanese live streamer and he was trying to use an oil match and he ended up burning down his apartment, but there was some guy in the States and he did like a dub of this Japanese streamer burning down his house. And at one point when he's like trying to light the oil match, he just says, serenity! I don't know why, but that really stuck with me. So when I started doing repair videos and I'd get something working, I would just say, serenity! What's your favorite railroad disaster movie? I think Runaway Train from 1985 would qualify as a disaster movie because at the end it's implied, you know, the final engine crashes. So yeah, I'd say Runaway Train. Atomic Train from 1999 is a really well-made film as well, but it's pretty dark. I mean, Runaway Train is also pretty dark, but more meaningful, I guess, if that makes sense. All right, here's a call. I want somebody to pick something really obscure, something that usually does not get run on these live streams, and the first request I see is the one I'll run. Do you have any European models, or they're only US-Canadian models? No, I have some stuff from Europe. Holy crap, we just got a $100 super chat from Der Deutsch Professor. Thank you so much. The layout is looking good. Happy Easter from Germany. Well, happy Easter to you too. That's insanely generous. Wow. Can you run the A4? With the British one? I already ran that one earlier in the live stream, but we can run a different British engine if somebody would like. Rock Island or Penn Central? All right. $100 buys a lot of pizza. Oh, yeah. Definitely have to go get some Milanos. This one's kind of Pensen. Providence and Worcester -8. Yeah, we can run that. We'll Put this one on first. Oh, it's running a little rough. I'll let that circle around and we'll put the Providence and Worcester locomotive on. That thing sounds like the world's angriest shaver. Turbocharged Honda at 3 a.m. Yeah, exactly. That's when VTEC kicks in. This thing should be a little bit more pleasant to listen to. Who expects less from Penn Central? Yeah, exactly. It's a realistically maintained locomotive. Do you have any Metro equipment? I think I do. It doesn't run either. Maybe it can't handle this radius of track. Yeah, I guess not. Rondo 47, thank you so much for becoming part of the Well Folks Club. What happened on EarthCat? Unfortunately, we lost him to pancreatitis, but he was an old boy. He had lived a long and fruitful life. New Jersey Transit, sure. I wonder if this one would handle the radius. I know it's the same engine, but I feel like that rotates a little more. I guess not. Can you do a double header with the Royal Hudson? Not sure what else I would use with it. You have a Pennsylvania GG1? Yeah. And Chris says, have you ever cataloged your fleet? Do you maintain a spreadsheet telling how many Athearn, how many lifelikes, and so on? I don't have any spreadsheet. Years ago, somebody actually did do a catalog of the collection, but that was like in 2020, so, you know, quite a bit has changed since then. Personally, I don't really keep any logs other than what I can remember about every locomotive in my head. Like, 90% of this collection, if somebody said they just picked an engine off the shelf and they said, where did this thing come from, when did you get it, I could answer. But, yeah, there's not every single piece is cataloged. cataloged. Do you still have the chest beacon on fire? Yeah, I sure do. Chest beacon on fire is an engine I'd like to hold on to for good. I really like that one. What brand is the Canadian Pacific steamer? I think it's Van Horn Hobbies. Rondo's already posting all the members' stickers. We'll have to release more of the stickers. I thought that was the music from Back to the Future. Probably came out around the same time. Do you sell locomotives? Some of the locomotives I buy in the massive eBay lots, I've sold to local hobby shops for about $10 a piece. But that's about it. A lot of stuff I just give away. I could probably open up like an eBay store, but trying to ship stuff out these days in Canada is a pretty complicated process. You actually have to take pictures of what you're shipping out and then disclose that with the shipping company. Put out a shipping manifest and then mail it. Have you ever had an engine stolen or borrowed for a considerable amount of time? I don't think so. I have had things outside the model railroad where I've, I don't know, lent somebody like a tool or like a compression gauge and that's disappeared for a long time. But I don't think in terms of my model railroad I've ever had that happen. I have had the opposite to an extent though, where like there were some guys from the train club who gave me some engines to repair, but I didn't know who I was repairing it for because it was another guy who gave me the engines on their behalf, and I've been trying to find out who the owner of these locomotives are because their stuff all works now, but I have not been able to track them down. And these are kind of nice engines. They have DCC and stuff, so. But other than that, no, I haven't had that happen. I see you have a Golden Eagle. It never came with handrails. Did you make them or cannibalize them from another locomotive? The one that I have right here came with them. I'm not sure if those are from the factory or if somebody added them on, but I know that Tyco in some of their sets did include handrails, and it was only later on that they removed them, so I'm not sure. But that was not my work. Probably need to fix the Golden Eagle. Well, this one seems to be running just fine. It's the DCC one that wasn't starting, although I don't think that that's actually the engine. I think it's my DCC controller. Probably time to replace the DCS-51 and get a DCS-52 or something like that. If money was not a problem, what locomotive would you buy? Good question. Probably like a crocodile. You see them on eBay sometimes, like those brass engines that have multiple sets of wheels. I know they go for about $2,000 a piece. Do you have any New Jersey Transit cars? I don't think I do. I just have the engine. For me, the USA Big Boy G Gauge. Actually, that's true. You can probably find one for under $1,000, but I'd love to have a H2 BNSF-9 in G scale. Although I also need the track and everything else, so that's not going to be for a while. Have you ever bought anything from Train World? I'm trying to remember. I think I did, but like 10 years ago. The problem with Train World and a lot of these other websites is that just trying to ship stuff from the United States incurs a lot of fees, and the exchange rate's really bad, so you know, I will buy stuff like on eBay and so on, but it's a lot cheaper in Canada to buy stuff locally because a used engine is $15 here. It's also $15 in the States, but when you factor in the shipping fees in American dollars and the exchange rate and stuff, all of a sudden there's a bit of a discrepancy. The Dash 9 G gauge is gorgeous. I think Aristocraft makes them. I found one a while back, which was selling at a reasonable price, but it didn't have the right paint scheme. I was watching this on my TV. I wanted to see 4014. Well, I tried to run one of the big boys earlier. I'm not sure if I have any of the others over here at the moment. So yeah, this one would not start. Although, I don't know. Try it again here. Maybe magically it will have repaired itself. Contacts all look good. Well, I have no idea why, but this thing is running now. Magic sorcery. Oh. Shut down again. See, I feel like a lot of people would say there's a problem with your track because, you know, it wasn't running over there and it wasn't running, you know, once it crossed over that switch, but at the same time, every other engine that's run over this section of track is fine. So I have no clue what's going on with this thing, but it does not make sense. Yeah, she gone. Definitely something weird going along with electrical hocus pocus there. Are you getting any voltage drop when you get away from the transformer? Well, I pushed it back onto the section of track before the switch and it still was not working. So there's something inside that engine that's wrong. Have you ever owned any Bowser locomotives? I have a Bowser T1. I guess that disconnected. Try putting the T1 on here. Truth be told, I don't know if I've run the T1 on the new part of the layout, so this is going to be a first. How big is the layout? I haven't measured the new section yet. So let's move the cars manually. Please run a GG1. Let me see if I can get this thing running first, and then we'll try to run a GG1. Can you showcase the rest of your collection with your N scale, O scale, G scale, etc.? Eventually I probably will, but right now I don't have all that set up well enough. I have brought over some of the G scale stuff and some of the N scale stuff, but I don't have everything here, so it wouldn't be a good representation. It's like drone footage. Hey Harrison, first time catching your live stream in a while. I wanted to say hello from Houston, Texas. Really like your content. Thank you. Who would put money on a T1 if it raced a British A4? That is a good question. Maybe we should test it out here on the channel. Back when both the trains meet up on this side, we'll put this on the other line and we'll race them down the straightaway. Because I know right now with the T1 Trust, they're hoping to break the Steam speed record, and so it's going to be interesting if that's possible with this locomotive. In terms of the models, I really have no idea. I'll be honest, the Hornby might have the edge just because this thing is really heavy. It does have two motors though, so I don't know. We'll have to try it out. Okay, now in order to do this fairly, I'm just gonna disconnect this. Okay, that looks pretty even there. I'm going to set it to run off the same controller right here, so it's the same voltage and everything else. Now, place your bets in the chat, which is going to get to that corner first. I'll give everybody a moment here. Also, what I'll do, in order to make sure we get like the best launch, you shut your controller off, you turn the voltage all the way up, and then when I press this, they both should take off. And a lot of people are saying T1, A4. Jersey Bill seems to think the British engine. T1, the British T4. Oh, a lot of bets on the A4. All right. Let's see. So not by like a lot, but yeah, the A4 does have a little bit on the line. Yeah, to be fair to the T1 there, this is a plastic engine with a modern drivetrain. This thing is probably 50 years old, and it's got all die-cast parts, so even though it has two motors, it's a little less quick. But it's going to be interesting to see when they actually, you know, not race it, but test it speed-wise, whether or not this will be a faster engine. I'm not unimpressed with the T1, though. Honestly, it holds its own. Whoops. Drop the stuff on the floor here. That didn't sound good. It wasn't that bad. I just bumped something off the table there. Flying train day. I didn't see 4014 run. Did it work? It briefly started up again and then it shut down. I have no idea what's going on with that engine. T1. Do you have an Allegheny? Unfortunately, I don't have one of those. What advice would you have for somebody who wants to start collecting model trains? Look in your area to see what kind of train shows there are. Sometimes they can be surprisingly close. I think we got another derailment. Man, oh man. Did you see 4014 is coming to northeastern Pennsylvania? Making an... Okay, I need to reread this. Did you see that 4014 is coming to northeastern Pennsylvania and the Union Pacific is making an AC 4400 with the 250 American unit with President Trump's signature on the side. The locomotive will be number 4547. I wasn't aware of that. I did know that they were running 4014 across, well, not across the United States, but at least from coast to coast. But if I'm honest, it's a bit different than I was expecting, because I had thought that running it from coast to coast meant from, like, I don't know, California to Florida, and instead I think they're running it to Pennsylvania and then going straight through to Texas, which, yeah, it's kind of coast to coast, but not across the country in the way I would have thought of it. I think the closest the big boy will get to is Buffalo, New York. Honestly, I think that's feasible for me. I already went through Buffalo last year on my way to Cincinnati, so I know the route. Thank you so much for the super chat, Michael. Harrison, my wife and I are celebrating our 2-year anniversary back in the hobby. It's all because of you. I just wanted to say a small thanks. Well, welcome back to the hobby, and I really do appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Probably worth a trip, basically once in a lifetime. Yeah, and probably the closest 4014 is going to be to me, because typically it's on the other side of the country. Now, that's not necessarily a problem, because I have family members who live in California, so I could probably go out there if I wanted to and see it on the other side, but I don't know. It'd be kind of nice to see it in New York. .4014 is going to Scranton, Steamtown. Is that confirmed? If your wife takes you to the hobby store, make sure you keep her forever. The big boy is coming to Steamtown on the Reading Northern. Well, that's awfully tempting, too. SMT, do you want to know something cool? Sure. Do you have any engines with smoke units? I don't think I have any engines with working smoke units. I have a bunch that had smoke units, but they burnt out, or I disabled them. Do you get tornadoes in your part of Canada? Not very often. We had a pretty bad one, well, relatively bad. Not as bad as some of the ones I know people in the Midwest deal with, but we had a relatively bad one, I think in 2018. But yeah, not very often. The bigger problem in Canada is like ice storms and snowstorms. Do you still have a lot of snow at your place? I'd say we have about a foot and a half on the ground. A lot of it is melting off. Yesterday it was 17 degrees Celsius. I'm trying to figure out in my head what that would be in Fahrenheit. That'd be probably about, I don't know, maybe 55. I'm jealous Canada is getting snow. Well, if you want to come up here and take a couple bags of it, feel free. I want to be rid of it. I'm looking forward to the warmer weather. I love the summertime. I have about 3 feet of snow in my yard. That's brutal. It's 82 degrees Fahrenheit or 27.7 in Jersey today. What I would give to be in that kind of weather. Is that the Bowser T1 you fixed up a while ago that's running around? Yeah, it's the same locomotive that was featured in that video. It's funny because when I did that video, there were so many people saying that thing is a piece of junk. It's going to give you so many problems. And honestly, it's been pretty reliable. But I did see on Ron from Classic Model Trains channel that he got one of those and it gave him a lot of trouble. So I don't know if I just got a good one. But yeah, for what it is, it's been pretty reliable. I was hoping to double head these things, but unfortunately this only has one coupler. I wonder if I can swap that. Yeah, maybe. I think I put it in upside down. No. I guess that's fine. Crap. Okay, I think I see what's going on. The spring is kind of stuck. Okay. See how both those work as a AA set. AA. I really hope these things warm up. Right now they're not running very well. Doesn't sound good. Yeah, I agree with that. The amp draw isn't too bad. It's about a amp, but that's divided amongst two engines, so it might be okay. I haven't run these in a long time though, so I think that maybe things are just dragging along. I think one of these engines is not running. Yeah, so that one runs. This one's completely cooked. It does not want to start. Well, I guess that's going to be a repair. I'm honestly amazed that this thing has enough pulling capacity to push the other one around the entire layout. When can we expect to see the Selkirk review coming out? Very soon. It's been completely filmed. I just need to edit and upload it, but I have to say that engine turned out to be a lot of trouble. I wish eBay international shipping wasn't that expensive. Yeah, it's insane. Is it normal that my controller is burning hot? No, it should not be burning hot. Like, it's normal for a controller to be, like, warm to the touch, but it shouldn't be, like, hot, like, ooh, that feels like a 100-watt light bulb in my hand. No Mavi Dog today. No, I'm not looking after him today. How about the Go Locomotive? Yeah, we could run that. See if we can get this thing going soon. There we go. Hi, Harrison. My name is Juan from Mexico. I always watch your tour videos. They help me a lot with fixing my locomotive, so I'm glad to hear that. You should get a Fairmix locomotive. I'm on the market for one. Easier said than done. I live in South America, and an eBay $20 locomotive ends up costing about $70 with shipping. Yeah, that's just it. Even buying engines in Canada, I find I'm usually paying like $20 for shipping, which, you know, for a large lot of trains is not that bad, but if you're buying a single engine, that's a fair bit of cash, I would say. The Canadian Pacific Kansas City Southern paint scheme is dog water. I get why people don't like it. It's very minimalist. Honestly, I agree they could have added more detail to it, but I don't think it's horrible. It actually reminds me a lot of the AWVR paint scheme from Unstoppable. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jersey Bill. SMT, did you know there's a yellow Pac-Man livery Canadian Pacific wide version caboose in the UK at Mangapes Railway? I've seen pictures of that, and it looks very strange seeing a piece of Canadian rolling stock in the UK. So I do know what you're talking about. I've seen pictures of it on Facebook. I don't know the story of how it got there, though. If you know, I would be happy to read it out here. Does the T1 work on the new track, or maybe your QJ class? I already ran the T1. I think I have the QJ here, so I could probably run that. Just get the Go train running in a second here. What DCC are you running? A DCS 51. Actually, I'm hooking this up backwards. Can you see what specific song this is on the playlist? I want to search it up. Give me a second. Yeah, I can definitely look it up. Nice. Okay, now in terms of figuring out what song that is... called Peak Performance by B. Donnelly. I love the live stream, SMT. Keep it up. Looking forward to your great content. Thank you. What's next in your plans for building on the layout? It's probably going to be the construction of some sort of a 2-track bridge. What I'm thinking is that somehow connect some tracks up to the yard right there, run 2 lines, and then in this corner, we have some sort of a, I don't know, like something similar to that, like some sort of like a shelf unit. We'll connect there, and then I think that will shrink down and then kind of go along this wall into that corner. And then I'm either going to have an extension which will go up into that room, or I'm going to run it straight across with some sort of a lift out, and that will go across into that back room through here and connect up on the other side, creating another circuit. But I'm hoping to have 2 sets of tracks. That way we could run 4 trains at the same time. Well, technically 5 trains at the same time, because you could run 2 on this line, 1 on this line, and then hopefully another 2 on the outer line. The poster would be a nice backdrop for the straight section of rail. Obviously not to scale, but it would look cool. Yeah, I mean, even though it doesn't match up with the layout, it actually looks pretty nice at certain angles. Like, when I was filming the Selkirk video the other day, I kind of had a shot where it's sort of at like this level right here, zoomed in a little bit, and yeah, I mean, you can see the scale difference, but I think this still looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm hoping to build a custom bridge. I think I'm actually going to weld it. I'm going to go buy some 1/4-inch steel and, I don't know, try to weld some stuff together to actually put that all together, just because, I don't know, I was going to build the bridge out of wood and then I was like, it's going to block too much of the view, whereas if I build it out of steel, everything can be really low profile and it'll be realistic. It'll be a real steel bridge. It's Canadian National Locomotive Model Power. I think it was branded as Model Power, but in terms of manufacturer, I'm pretty sure it was made by Roco. Yeah, it doesn't say it, but this is definitely a Roco. Will the bridge be powered? The lift-out section over here will definitely be powered. As for the bridge here, it's just going to be a continuous circuit, so yeah, it will always have electricity. But the lift-out is going to require some special wiring. Wooden bridges take time. Mine is taking forever. Well, especially if you're scratch building one with all the different beams. I can't even imagine. Can you still run trolleys in the one section? Yeah, it's still operable. Where is the QJ? I don't know. We can go have a look for it. It's probably at the bottom of this shelf. The reason I think the Canadian Pacific Kansas City Southern Paint Scheme is dog water is because it's missing the charm of the original Canadian Pacific and KCS liveries. Yeah, well, like I said, I think they could have added more detail. What's your favorite energy drink? I think NOS. NOS energy drink or Monster. Truth be told, I don't drink a whole lot of energy drinks. Most of the time, when I want caffeine, I just have black coffee. I've had Monster once, it's good, but you need to be careful with how much it's used. Yeah, well, a lot of people who like work in construction or really any job, you know, they like go to bed at 3 a.m. and then they need to power through the day, and so they just chug away on those. But you feel great for a while while drinking that stuff, and then all of a sudden you don't. I think they leave. Yeah, they leave. Well, you're having like basically, I think, 2 cups of coffee, which is a lot of caffeine to have all at once. But there's so much sugar and acid in there, like it's not good stuff for you. Whoops. Forgot to stop the GO train. I fix trains like you, but I do it simpler. It's pretty fun but tiring. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with doing really basic repairs on stuff. Like, in some of the videos, I like to go kind of in-depth on the repairs. In some of the live streams, I kind of, you know, try to find quick solutions to stuff just because you have to keep things moving. But, yeah, there's nothing wrong with just doing a few quick repairs and getting your equipment up and running again. breaking everything here. Pretty sure out in China these were typically used for hauling coal, so this will be its natural environment. Hopefully the controller will work this time, but I'm not very optimistic because it... Oh, no, it did work this time. Huh. Weird. Can you put the Royal Hudson on the front? No, I don't think I can double head the Hudson with the QJ just because they're not speed matched. Greetings from Poland, welcome. Are you going to try to get up to Scranton to see the big boy? Maybe Scranton or Buffalo. Do you have any French steam locomotives? I don't think I do. Do you have your AWVR steam, or not steam engines, AWVR locomotives? Yes, I do. Can you run the big boy? I tried to earlier and it was not having it. Do you have any Tex-Mex engines? I have at least one. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not seeing it. Do you have any Western Pacific, Nickel Plate, Indiana, Harbor Belt, Genesee, and Wyoming? I have a, or not, Western Pacific. I definitely have a Western Pacific engine. See if I can locate it. It's Western Pacific. As for Genesee and Wyoming, I have a Genesee and Wyoming locomotive, but it's not branded as Genesee and Wyoming. It just has the same paint scheme. It's a subsidiary. Do you have any Monon locomotives? Yeah. Paid $20 for this locomotive about 8 years ago, and it's been quite reliable. Brand, it's an older Athearn. New setup looks great, thank you. Got bad news, my basement flooded in Wisconsin because my pump and trains are all on the floor of my engines. I'm so sad, the water overflowed, the tracks are destroyed. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that. The good news is that if you can dry out the engines fast enough and then run them, you're probably going to be okay. Water is obviously not good stuff for model trains. If your controllers or anything like that have been underwater, don't use them because that's 120 volts coming out your wall. You don't want to mess around with that. But as for your engines, if you can dry them out and then immediately run them, keep the parts moving, they'll probably be okay, to be honest. How do you run your separate tracks with different speeds? So the way my layout is wired up is basically the track is connected, but it's electrically isolated. So even though these two sets of rails, you can run a train from one set of tracks to the other, no power can flow between the two sets. And then what I have right here is a couple double pull, double throw switches. And the way this works is that when I'm running the inside track, I can either run the inside track off of this controller or one of these two controllers. As for the outside track, I can run it off one of these two controllers, but the two wires which go to these rails also feed into this switch. So if I set this to run on the same controller, it directs the power which goes to these two rails to the second set of tracks. And because of that, I can run a train from one set of tracks to the other, because when I have it set to the same power supply, it's the same, so it doesn't matter. But I can't run a train from one set of tracks to the other if I'm using a different controller. So I hope that makes sense. It's a confusing setup, but it works well. I'll have to do a video at some point on how to wire that up. What's the controller that detects high voltage and short circuits? I'm not sure. The controller, like if you're asking which controller shows voltage, this one shows voltage. And it also shows the current draw. It's a 9500 series MRC. Most modern controllers have a circuit breaker. And Jersey Bill says, get some WD-40 contact cleaner. It displaces water and can also be sprayed in all the electrical components. Yeah, exactly. Like, the big thing about water getting inside your locomotives is if it sits there for a while. A locomotive has a lot of dissimilar metals, and so when you add water, it almost acts as a bit of an electrolyte, and you create a really crappy battery, and the metals can start to react with each other. But provided you keep everything moving and you dry it out quick enough, there's not enough time for that reaction to happen. And provided you keep everything moving, the metals don't fuse together. The worst thing you could do is leave the moisture inside the engines and let them sit. But if you keep them moving, you might still have some problems, but I think in all likelihood, everything is going to be okay. Opinions on Thomas. I watched the show as a kid, the original show where they were actually using model trains to film all the episodes. I had that on VHS. But that's about it. I haven't really followed it since then. I grew up with Chuggington. I think Chuggington came out, I don't know, by the time I wasn't watching Treehouse and all the other kids' channels anymore, because I don't remember seeing a whole lot of Chuggington. I love toy trains. That's what I grew up on. I watched those on YouTube when I was younger, too. I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and my uncle was at my house and left. Then 3 hours later, my water pump stopped working and the water stopped flowing. It all splashed on the ground. Do you have any GP30s? I probably do. Do you have any P42s? Yeah. Got this one. I actually just bought a Delaware Williams Hudson SD45 lash up, which was the basis for Buster on I Love Toy Trains. Your videos helped me get back into the hobby. I'm glad to hear that. A toy store that used to be near me had a Brio train table, and a Barnes & Noble's near me had a train table with signals you can turn from red to green. The knob, I love that layout. I always loved that as a kid too, the wooden setups that they used to have at the toy stores. I don't know if they still do those. I know nothing about model trains or even real trains, but your videos are entertaining. Well, that means a lot to hear because, I mean, there's a lot of people who are already in the hobby or they have an interest in trains and they watch these videos, which I already appreciate. But yeah, to hear that coming from somebody who isn't into either, that really means a lot. Any jumping trains today? No, I took all that down, but it was fun seeing if it was even possible to get an Acela to jump from one track to the other. WD-40 stands for water displacement 40th formula. Use it on wires. Water will creep in its way into the insulation and get wherever the wires go. The motors are likely cooked. Again, the water, if you get water inside your motor, it will not fry it. The only thing that will cook it is that if the dissimilar metals have a chance to react with the water over an extended period of time, then you will have a problem. But I would actually suggest not spraying WD-40 in your motor because the WD-40, if it gets on the commutator, can bugger it up. Not permanently. If you wash it after, it will be fine, but you don't want oil mixing with your commutator because then it will gum it up and it will start to burn. So yeah, my advice would be if water gets in your engine, just run it. Just run it and dry it out as fast as you can. Robert, thank you so much for the $49 super chat. Really do appreciate it. And the message says, here's $50. Take Chloe out for Easter dessert. Well, I'm sure she will love that. I'll put it to good use. The next jumping locomotive is the Union Pacific Big Boy. I don't know if that would work. SMT, I saw a video of a Canadian Pacific caboose in the UK. You can see the well over the diesel pulling it. Well, somebody posted pictures of that on Facebook. I have no idea how a Canadian caboose ended up in the UK, but yeah, there's it's documented. Never use WD-40 oil on any locomotive, just WD-40 contact cleaner. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, just as long as it evaporates. My concern with any oil-based product is just that if it gets on the commutator, the carbon can't fly off. It gets actually stuck to the commutator, and then that's where it starts to burn stuff. What about 3-in-1 oil? I think 3-in-1 oil is okay. Like if it comes down to not putting any oil in an old locomotive, like a 40-year-old locomotive, and putting some 3-in-1 oil in it, I think adding a little bit of 3-in-1 oil is probably better. But use it sparingly, and don't put it on the commutator inside the motor. Like you can oil the bearings on the motor, that's fine, or put some in the gearbox. But what I would not ever suggest is like soaking the engine in 3-in-1 oil. At least 3-in-1 oil is actually a lubricant though, because WD-40 lubricates, but it's more of a penetrating oil. So if you have like a stuck bolt or something, a bit of WD-40 can help get you out of a jam, but it's a very thin lubricant. So I don't know, a lot of people that say WD-40 melts gears and stuff like that, I don't think it actually melts gears. I think it's just such a bad lubricant that gears start to strip out if you use WD-40 as a lubricant. But I've done experiments where I've soaked parts down in 3-in-1 oil and left them, and nothing happened to them. So do you have any engines with the names Drake and Josh? No, I never watched that show. Best is selective. What do you think of modern locomotives, 2000s to the 2010s? I like them. I have quite a few of them too. A lot of AC 4400s and P42s and stuff like that. I mean, I know the P42s are technically early 2000s, but still, kind of in that era. Will you add a third bridge in the center, or you'll remove the split rail? The plan is to build a bridge which will kind of go across diagonally, and then there's going to be a yard for storing locomotives, which is actually going to link back up there. Funny story, by the way. I was on Facebook the other day, and somebody took a picture of the track plan I featured in one of my videos in terms of building this, and they posted it on a model railroading group and said, "Hey guys, I'm building my first layout. What do you think of the track design?" And there were a lot of people that were like, where do all these other tracks go? Because they just took a picture of like this one section right here, like just a literal picture of the video. And there were a lot of people in the comments saying, isn't that SMT Mainline's layout? So anyway, that was a little bit strange. I'm not upset or anything. Like, you know, if people want to copy this design or whatever, who cares? But I was just like, why would somebody take a picture of my layout and then pretend it was their design? I don't know. Kind of weird. I'm not sure you can use alcohol for the motors. You can use a bit of rubbing alcohol to clean the commutator, but make sure you dry it out first, because if the motor is soaked in rubbing alcohol and you start it, the motor generates sparks and, you know, it's going to catch fire in your hands. Ask me how I know. Identity theft. I don't know. The only thing I can figure is that maybe they wanted to give me some advice on building the layout, so they decided to pretend it was their layout so that they could get, I don't know, ideas from more experienced model railroaders. I really don't know what the angle of that post was, but I did find it pretty funny. Plagiarized layout, that is new. Railroads that have identity theft. How often should I heavily do maintenance on HO scale locomotives, oil, grease, and all that? If it's a modern locomotive, just once every few years. If it's an older locomotive, like something from the 50s or the 60s where you have all like brass gears and things like that, I would probably do it maybe every 6 months, depending on how often you run it, just because older engines require more lubrication. Modern engines don't need a whole lot of oil. It's all plastic parts. They're low friction, so you just need to add oil or do a oil change every so often, whereas with older engines, you want to be on top of that because the gears create more friction, and they're also harder to find parts for, so. I bet the guy that took a photo of your layout got exposed. I doubt they're going to get exposed. I mean, this is on some random Facebook group. I'm not even part of the group. It just got recommended to me, which is already kind of weird, like what the chances of that are. But no, I have no hate towards whoever took a picture of my layout and posted it as their own. I just don't understand what they're trying to accomplish. Like if they're actually trying to build a copy of my layout, or if they wanted advice to give to me, or like I just don't understand what their goal was. But I don't think there was anything like malicious about it. How's the Hershey factory? I haven't done anything with it. It's still over at my parents' place. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to move it, but that building makes me nervous. It's just, there's so many little details that could get broken, and I'm just not sure how I'm gonna move it. Do you still have the 2 engines from the ultrasonic cleaner video? Yes. Have you ever driven a steam tractor? I can't say I have. I have briefly driven a real locomotive, but it was not steam. I'm guessing it was an AI bot that pulled a picture of your video and created a post. It could have been AI, but the picture of the layout was like somebody had taken a picture of their screen. It wasn't like a screenshot. Like somebody had just taken out their cell phone and taken a picture of their computer. So, but yeah, it's just very strange. You still have that weird articulated Swedish electric engine. I don't remember what it was called. Yeah. Here's the one. Do you have any model buildings in recent past, or you prefer to get them pre-assembled? Generally, I like to just buy the kits because they're a lot cheaper than the pre-assembled buildings. In terms of kit bashing, I don't usually do a crazy amount. The exception is the Hershey's factory, where I actually built the entire model from scratch, and that was quite a project, but yeah, generally I don't know. I mean, some of these are pre-built, but generally I like to buy the kits. Robert, sorry, I put the wrong number on my card. Let's try it again. Well, thank you so much for the second super chat there, but I don't understand. What do you mean the wrong number? Huh. Well, Robert, whatever comment you're trying to put, just post it again. I mean, really generous for you to post another super chat there. Don't get me wrong, I completely appreciate it, but yeah, that's very generous if you just have a comment you want me to read. Run the American Freedom Train. All right. I went to Omaha Zoo last weekend, and I was surprised to find them pulling zoo train with an 1890 Austrian 062. Needless to say, I lost interest in the animals for the rare steam train. Must have been a engine that they imported. I think they were supposed to have something like that at one point at Marineland, which was an aqua park. But they never ended up using either of the steam engines. I did that once trying to purchase an item and I was like, why did it not work? It took me 2 tries to check the card number before realizing the number was wrong. The first supercharge was declined. I put the wrong numbers in. How's about a GG1? Yeah, sure. I'll focus this on the Freedom Train here. There you go, Robert. Harrison, I have a question. Do you have Union Pacific number 4066? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't 4066 a 240 3900 class? If so, can you run it? I don't think I have one of those. Is that a Rivarossi or an IHC? This is an IHC. Greetings from Slovakia, Europe. Could you run the Freedom train with the True Line engine, or are they not speed matched? They wouldn't be speed matched. I mean, they're quite different. Will you landscape the gully like your old layout, or just leave it how it is? The gully is coming back. I actually already have the structure here. I just need to build something to support it. What does a 240 mean? It's the wheel arrangement. So like on this steam locomotive right here, you can see there's 4 pilot wheels. So it would be a 4. And then you can see the drive wheels are 8 in total. So there's 4 on each side. So this would be a 4-8, and then there's another 4 on the back. So this is a 4-8-4. So that's just how steam engines are categorized. Iron Merlin. Everybody give SMT them likes. It hasn't gone up in a while. Do you still have the Varney Yellowstone you had to cobble together? Yeah, I was running that earlier in the live stream. It made quite a few good laps, and then something went wrong with the gearbox, so I'll have to fix that, but it's still around. I found out recently that that engine is actually extremely rare too, because I guess the brass version was actually more common. The one I have is aluminum. But yeah, I had no idea I was buying such a rare piece of equipment, because I paid like 20 bucks for that thing. Do you have any Russian trains? I think I have at least one. Pretty sure that this thing is Russian, or it might have just been part of the USSR. It's quite an unusual design, I gotta say. Not sure how well it will run. Opinion on the 250th anniversary paint scheme, politics aside, obviously. Well, it depends which 250th anniversary paint scheme you're talking about, because I know a lot of railroads are coming out with one. So far, the ones that Canadian Pacific and Canadian National have put together, I think look really good. I haven't seen the other railroads' paint schemes, but I'm sure they'll do a fine job. Whoops. Well, it's kind of working. Is that AFT Lionel Bachmann ones, or is it a Spectrum chassis under it? It's a modern Bachmann. I found this on the Amazon warehouse for $70, which for, you know, sound equipped daylight, I thought was a pretty good deal. Well, not a daylight, but you get what I mean, a sound equipped GS4. I figured it actually works. Yeah, exactly. Oh, excuse me. Good day. Interesting question for SMT. Do you think a standard diesel locomotive with tank treads swapped out for the wheels would work? I don't know. It would have to be on awfully solid ground. Otherwise, I think the engine would just sink. And also, you'd have to figure out some sort of a way to cause the trucks to steer because the track wouldn't be doing that job. So I guess to answer the question, is it impossible? Probably not. But is it a good idea? Also, probably not. Anyway, I think I'm going to finish off the live stream pretty soon because I have to go into my parents' house for dinner. Bit of a treat, so I have to get going so I can drive out there and so on. But it's been a lot of fun running trains this afternoon. I hope you all enjoyed as well. Still running the trains. Well, about to wrap up. What do you think of the big boys with elephant ears? I feel like I've seen a picture of that. I didn't even know at one point they had those. So I don't know if that's a new choice. I mean, I guess it's a good idea. I'm sure it helps deflect the smoke, but personally I think it looks a bit strange. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you. I think Russia also tried to make a 214-4. It failed miserably. I heard stories about those engines. Apparently they destroyed the track. They were so big. It's such a long wheelbase. They would just, like, the rails would just rip apart. I also saw a pretty crazy story where Baldwin, I think, was trying to make some engines for Russia. And then the embargo came into place, and so they couldn't sell the engines to Russia, but they had all these, I want to say they were maybe like 484s or something, but they were narrow gauge, so they were like, well, how are we going to run these on the American railways? So they just oversized the wheels. So the wheels, they just expanded them so that they would actually fit on American track, and so there are a few of them out in museums where the wheels are incredibly wide. They were broad gauge and were narrow. Just okay, I got that backwards. So they were broad gauge and then they narrowed them to standard gauge. But yeah, the wheels are oversized in order to make that work, which if you see pictures or videos of these things, it's quite an odd sight. Please make a video on how to make an HO scale mountain. Well, if you want to see how I make my mountains, just watch any of the layout build series because I cover that. I couldn't find anything about the Canadian caboose in the UK next stream. I'll try to find something about it. Well, look around on Facebook. I'm sure you can find the same pictures I did, but yeah, I would love to get to the bottom of how exactly that happened. because that must have cost a fair bit of money to export from Canada to the UK. Oh, I was gonna say, I thought that engine got permanently stuck over there in the corner. Anyway, I think I'm gonna finish off the live stream right here. Thank you all so much for joining in, and I hope everybody has a wonderful evening and a happy Easter.